Now, at first, you might think she's just hallucinating or something, right? But here's the crazy part. Some of the other passengers actually backed up her story. And here's where it gets even weirder. Her hand gestures and movements were like similar to those Illuminati signs or even the symbols of the Church of Satan. I mean, if you watch the video of the incident in slow motion, you will see what I'm talking about. It's pretty unusual to say the least, honestly. But hey, I don't want to go all the conspiracy theories on you guys. I have to stick to the script.
Okay, here's the story time for you. I've tried like 2 times to record this, but I keep going over the 3-minute limit, and I don't want to do a part 1, part 2 type thing, so I'm gonna try to be specific. I was on that flight. It was American Airlines. We were leaving Dallas-Fort Worth. I was sitting in the left aisle, about 3 rows back from this woman. She was sitting in the right aisle, and she had this very interesting exchange with some dude in a hoodie. I don't remember the color of the hoodie. I really, you know how memory is. When you're not super paying attention, you don't remember all the details. I had one headphone in, couldn't hear all the specifics of what happened, but I noticed this exchange between this woman and this dude in a hoodie. And it was kind of weird at the time because it seemed like no one else before she really started getting frantic, like was paying attention to this, but that makes sense. It was like a normal flight. This was after putting all the luggage away. We'd been on the plane for a little bit. It was before the flight attendant came over and gave the little spiel. And what I remember is she was having like a full-blown conversation with this dude in the hoodie. I'll call him the hoodie guy. She was having a full-blown conversation with hoodie guy. The weird thing was that he never once said a fucking word to her the whole time. And at the time, I don't know, I wasn't really thinking about it. But it was like it's like she would say something and he like would respond, but there was no exchange happening. It was just her getting more and more frantic, which, okay, if she's drunk and she's going crazy, then you would think the dude in the hoodie would have been like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? But he was just like dead locked on her, like deep eye contact with her. Like I don't want to feed into the conspiracies here, but like almost like she was like in a hypnosis type of thing. And she started getting more and more frantic to the point where then people started kind of noticing. Flight attendant came over, tried to calm her down, like, what's going on? She sat back down, but she kept looking over at this dude in the hoodie, and finally she was like done with it. And that's like when I really started paying attention, like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And that's when she was like, I can't do this. She started getting up, she started walking up to the front. And then the whole video thing happened. I didn't take a video of it. I was listening to a Stephen King audiobook. I wasn't like pulling out my phone to record this. And she didn't seem drunk to me, by the way. Just throwing that out there. I didn't see her drink. I mean, she seemed totally normal to me up until that point. The weird thing was after she left the plane, the dude in the hoodie, which the flight attendant was like, did anything happen? And he still didn't say a word. He just went like, and like shrugged. The dude in the hoodie like looked around the plane and he looked back at me. And he winked at me. And again, I didn't quite register it. I was like, okay, what the fuck was that about? I was like, maybe he's just being like an ass, like winking, like that was weird, wasn't it? But now that I look back, I realized that when he winked at me and it was his left eye looking back at me, it didn't wink like this. It winked like this. Okay, here's your part 2. I can't even believe this video has blown up this much. I literally made this video in a few minutes, went to go see some fireworks, hung out with some friends, came home, went to bed a little bit tipsy, woke up in the morning, got to work, didn't even check my phone, and then I see this thing blowing up all over the place. And there's a bunch of bullshit in the comments of people saying like, you weren't there, like it's a joke, he's a liar, all this bullshit, which whatever, I don't even care about any of that. I don't like get on TikTok all that much at all, but I am kind of annoyed at the email I got last night. That kind of shit pisses me off. And I know it's probably nothing serious. It kind of freaked me out a little bit when I got up in the morning, but I know it's probably someone in the comments, one of y'all probably found my email or something, and you're just playing a prank or like being an asshole. But I don't appreciate that kind of stuff. So I'm going to make this one video. I'm going to clear the air and just tell, like, nothing crazy happened on the plane for the rest of the flight. What else happened? Like, you know, let me just clear the air and just tell you the rest of my little story, and then that's it. I forgot about it, whatever. I've seen shit in my life. Like, I'm going to move on with my life, so whatever. First off, I was on the plane, so everyone's saying, oh, the reason I put that in the description, which I thought we all knew about TikTok, is because TikTok will suppress content and take content down when you're talking about like controversial things or conspiracy things or like, you know, political stuff. It'll take your videos down. Something that I heard is if you put like fake this, fake that, fake blood, fake body, if you put that your video is fake in the description, then it sometimes like tricks the algorithm. So that's why I did that. 2, people are talking about the flight attendants were switched on the plane. That isn't weird. People are like, that's so weird. That happens. People come down, the flight attendants come down with the plane and land and inspect it and leave, and then the new flight attendants come for the flight out. Like, that's normal. And then the last thing was like nothing else really happened on the plane. I just noticed, which now again, looking back, this is just kind of strange to me. The guy never once said anything to anyone the entire flight, not even the flight attendant, didn't ask for anything. He didn't have headphones, never pulled out a phone, didn't have a computer, wasn't reading anything, didn't watch the TV in front of him. He just like sat there frozen the entire fucking flight, which I don't know. I'm not thinking about it again because people are like saying, oh, you didn't notice? No, I'm not thinking about this shit. You know, I don't know, maybe he's meditating. I don't know. You've got to take everything I say with a grain of salt. I don't fucking know. But what was also weird is he didn't have a bag or anything when we left the plane. He just got up in jeans and in his hoodie and walked right off the plane. And I tried to kind of see if I could see him again, but as soon as we got to the ramp, didn't see him again. So that's really all that happened. And I don't really care to talk about this anymore, but I don't appreciate the fucking email that I got last night talking about like, oh, we see what you're doing, we hear you, we see you. That shit's bullshit. So don't send me that kind of crap anymore. That kind of stuff is annoying. But that's it. Like, that's my story. Whatever. Everyone has a story. Everyone's saying shit about it. But who gives a fuck? Believe what you...
This time, a guy freaked out and wanted to open the airplane doors because he believed he was seeing a ghost or jinn.
Look at everyone filming, man. What's wrong?
Luckily, they managed to handle the situation before things got out of control. Now, here's the thing. None of these people had any history of mental illness. So the best explanation we've got is that they actually encountered demons. Yeah, you heard me right. Demons or people possessed by jinn. It's pretty scary stuff, mate.
People say they're the lizard people and they walk around like a lizard. No, there's actually a race of the jinn. They are actually looking like lizards. If you could see them in their true nature, they're green and has scales. And they don't show their nature because they can be killed at that state. If they be killed at that state, it's finished for them. So as soon as they veil themselves, you can't kill them like you can kill other things. So there's ways to go after them, but they veil themselves. So 99.9% of human race, once something is veiled, you can't swing something at it, you can't fire something at it, it's veiled. But it's a race of these creatures, and these creatures enter into people and overtake their homes, their life, their wealth. Now, do they do that for just a group of poor people? They may not use that energy for that, but you can imagine they would go after, you know, very significant individuals on this earth and immediately acquire all their money, all their bank accounts, all their homes, all their corporation, everything would now be under the command of that jinn. And he will now invite all his other nefarious jinn into the bodies of all the other executives and people. Before you know it, they're running entire corporations and organizations, and that's how they function.
Project Bluebeam. By far the scariest years we may see. This conspiracy achieved its status in 1994 by a book that was written by Serge Monast. In the book, the writer describes how the United Nations, in collaboration with NASA's technology, will unite the whole world under a new false religion. But how? There will be, supposedly, an alien invasion, which is all part of the whole show, of course. And one day, a hero, a god, will come from the skies and destroy these aliens. And us, human beings, we will not believe our own eyes and start to worship this god. Whatever this god orders will happen. One world order. This is called the Project Bluebeam. Now, I don't believe that they have the technology that is capable of deceiving us yet, but in the near future, they might very well be able to make them. If you are a Muslim or a Christian, this whole show must ring a bell. This is the person we have been warned about more than 1,000 years ago. If this happens, this is the Dajjal, the Antichrist. Be prepared.